Right now, James Harden deserves to win the MVP, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. What's up, guys? My name is Mike, and yes, in the beginning of the season, I did say Kawhi Leonard would win the MVP. But that's the reason I hate preseason predictions. You never know who's just going to take over a season. And this year, James Harden has brought his game to the next level. So today, we are going to talk about why James Harden needs to win the 2017 MVP. Let's jump into the video. We're going to start this video off by talking about my least favorite part about the NBA's MVP voting. And that is the fact that sometimes a great story can carry a player to an MVP victory. For instance, in 1993, Charles Barkley won the MVP over Michael Jordan because the best story of the year was that Chuck was playing for a new team in Phoenix that led the league in wins. So even though MJ deserved the award, Barkley won it. I mention this because this year, one of the top MVP candidates has an incredible story that could propel him to winning the Most Valuable Player award. Because so far in the 2017 season, Russell Westbrook is averaging a triple-double on an OKC team that just lost Kevin Durant in the second biggest free agent decision of all time. And Westbrook's story is a great story. It's a tale of overcoming the loss of one of the best players in the NBA. However, I don't think it's the best story this year, and I don't think Russell Westbrook deserves to win the MVP because James Harden is working on his own story this year. A classic tale of redemption. To show you what I mean, just last season, James Harden averaged 29 points, 7.5 assists, and 6.1 rebounds a night. To put these numbers into perspective, only 4 other players have put up comparable numbers in NBA history. These players are Oscar Robertson, John Havlicek, LeBron James, and Michael Jordan. And it's no surprise that of the 4 legends named, 3 were selected to the first team All-NBA, and LeBron James won the MVP. With that said, it was a surprise to see James Harden put up the same numbers and not get selected to the first team All-NBA. In fact, James Harden was not selected to any All-NBA team last season. Let's look at these numbers again. Can anyone really make a case that Harden was not a top 6 guard last year? If anything, the media's decision to leave Harden off of every 2016 All-NBA team is a sign that maybe these guys need to get their heads out of their asses and start choosing the right guys before they lose the voting power to do so. Because James Harden leaving the 2016 season with no awards was an absolute travesty. But luckily for us, Harden did not get discouraged from this lack of recognition, and instead, he's chosen to laugh at his haters and play out of his mind this year, which has set the stage for his redemption. Because when it's all said and done, James Harden should go from not making the All-NBA in 2016 to winning the 2017 MVP, giving the voters what they want and making this one of the best individual storylines in NBA history. Now, before we get more into this, we need to take a look at the 5 legitimate candidates to win the 2017 MVP. There are 2 notable guys I'm leaving off this list right now. I'm leaving off Steph Curry because Kevin Durant is having a more worthy season on the same team. And I'm leaving off Isaiah Thomas because he's about to fall in the same category as Russ and Harden, but he doesn't have comparable all-around stats. Which leaves us with LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden. Just looking at these 5 candidates objectively, it is clear that Russell Westbrook and James Harden have the best stats by far, and thus the best case for being the most valuable player. But here's the thing about the MVP award. While some years we find ourselves with a controversial decision, most of the time things are actually pretty predictable. In past videos, I've talked about how the last 28 MVPs have finished on teams who were either first or second in their conferences. Because it's really that simple. Each season, voters choose a MVP who leads his team to a lot of wins. And out of our 5 candidates, only Russell Westbrook and James Harden are not on teams that are first or second right now. We'll get to James Harden's case for the award in a minute, but for now, let's talk about Russell Westbrook. In the 2017 season so far, Russell Westbrook is averaging an absurd 31 points, 10.2 assists, and 10.6 rebounds a game. But already he was not chosen to start in the NBA's All-Star game, and there's a simple reason why. This year, Westbrook has a 42.3 usage percentage. This means that Westbrook's impact on his team's performance is far greater than the average stars. For instance, this year LeBron has a 29.7 usage percentage. And let me be clear here. Right now, Russell Westbrook has the #1 usage percentage in NBA history, and the top 23 players on the usage leaderboard did not win a championship, which is why it's no surprise that right now, the Thunder are just in 6th place in the Western Conference. We've seen this season before by Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. Just look at Kobe's numbers in 2006 and Jordan's numbers in 1987. Neither of those guys won the MVP, and if Kobe and Jordan didn't deserve to win the award with awesome stats on average teams, then Russ doesn't deserve to win it either. His team simply does not win enough, and there's a clear-cut man with similar stats who is leading his team to wins. Just take a look at Harden's stats for a second. He's putting up 28.6 points, 11.6 assists, and 8.2 rebounds a game. The only thing Russ has over him is the fact that Russ is averaging a triple-double, a milestone that is definitely clouding some people's judgment here. If Russ was averaging one more assist and one less rebound, no one would have him winning the MVP over James Harden, especially because right now Harden is having a historic season and his team is winning. Yes, they are only 3rd in the Western Conference, and yes, the last 28 MVPs have finished 1st or 2nd, but the Rockets are not just 3rd in the West, they're 3rd in the entire NBA, which makes the historic case for Harden way easier to pass through, as we only have to go back 5 years to find an MVP who played on a team who finished with the 4th overall record in the NBA, as LeBron won the MVP while leading the Heat to the 4th best record in the NBA. And to me, the biggest reason why I feel James Harden is this year's MVP comes with a few questions. Why have the Rockets suddenly gone from the 8th seed in the West last year to the 3rd seed now? How did Houston lose Dwight Howard, a top 10 center in the NBA at his worst, and suddenly get better? And who even is the Rockets' 2nd best player? It's that last question, asking who is Houston's 2nd best player, that has really stuck with me. Because when looking at the Rockets' best players, we see James Harden clock in at an awesome 27.7 PER. When looking at the other top 5 players for the Rockets in minutes per game, we see that no one has even an average PER of 15, which means that the Rockets did not suddenly get better this season due to their offseason additions. They've gotten better because James Harden, like Russell Westbrook, has the ball in his hands a lot more this year. The thing with Harden though is he's led this otherwise average team to an incredible record with 34 wins already. Seriously, how many wins would the Rockets have if you replaced Harden with an average player such as Ricky Rubio? Would a starting lineup of Rubio, Eric Gordon, Trevor Ariza, Ryan Anderson, and Clint Capella even win 34 games total this year? I doubt it, because James Harden is the Houston Rockets this season. Every win and loss falls directly on his shoulders. And the thing is, he's been one of the top players in the NBA for years. People just don't want to acknowledge that fact. Remember this, if the players were voting for the 2015 MVP, James Harden would have won. He already owns the ultimate respect of every player in the NBA. Now it's time for the fans and media to give him that same respect. So this year, let's reward the man who has put up historic stats while playing every game and leading his team to a top record. Let's fix the mistakes made in 2016 and let's complete the tale of redemption that this man deserves. And so guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you're now convinced. James Harden for the 2017 MVP, baby. A tale of redemption. NBA voters, make it happen. Not sure where I'm pointing there. But yeah, like I said before, if you're new and you enjoyed this video, then I would love to have you subscribe. I make basketball videos like this. I do NBA what ifs. I look at NBA conspiracies. And we're about to be in the exciting part of the NBA season, the trade deadline, playoffs, the draft. Gonna be a ton of videos coming up. I'd love to have you subscribe. And to everyone who's already subscribed, thank you guys so much for supporting. Which brings us to have an awesome day, my dudes, and cue that music.
What's the move? Can I tell the truth? If I was doing this for you, then I have nothing left to prove. Nah, this for me though. I'm just trying to stay alive and take care of my people. And they don't have no award for that. Trophies.